Alright, here we are, back in Abyss Floor 12. Now this one was actually pretty difficult. I decided to go with the Mono Anemo Team. I used Bennett just so that way I can get some swirl action and also crystallize. And then I had the cleanup crew, which was Raiden, Rosaria, Ayaka, and Xingqiu. I started out with the Elemental Burst card so that way I could do more damage. So I start out using Bennett's Elemental Skill to Elemental Burst to Zhao's Elemental Burst. And I'm pretty much just like pogo sticking and also weaving in some normal attacks so that way I can do as much damage as I can. I need to get as much damage on this robot before the time hits 9:15 to 9:10 and he changes it to his next phase. So as you see, I ran out of my Elemental Burst, so now I'm just using my skill to try to get that energy back. I changed to Bennett, use his skill so that way I pipe Pyro to it. Could go Kazuha's skill to Kazuha's Burst so that way we got the swirl effect happening around here. I hit him with Zhao's skill so that way I can go into the Elemental Burst. I'm trying to dodge this because I'm already under 50%, so I got the Staff of Homa effect. And I'm doing massive damage to him, and as you see, it went to 9:15, so now he's changed into a second phase. I have to hit this robot with the circle. It's slightly invulnerable for a second, but I put down Bennett's Elemental Burst. I changed into Kazuha, but he doesn't have enough to use his burst, so I changed into Sucrose to use her burst, and go back into Kazuha, and now he has enough to use his burst. Uses his burst, now we got massive AoE damage on the stage. Go into Zhao, use his skill, change into his form, use his Elemental Burst, pogo stick a couple times, and then that robot's dead. Now I can attack the main robot, so I'm just trying to do as much as I can to this main robot before my burst runs out. And as you see, I'm weaving in some normal attacks because this does more damage. And now I'm finally out, so I'm using the skill to try to get my energy back. Change into Kazuha, go back to Zhao to get some of his energy. Then I use Bennett's Burst to Kazuha's Burst, so that way I got more AoE. Then I do a couple skills of Zhao to where I can turn back into his burst, and now I'm just trying to pogo stick and normal attack till he's dead. Alright, second floor. I could have played this better, but I start out with Raiden's skill to Xingqiu's burst, accidentally transform into Raiden. Then I go into Rosaria, use her skill to her burst. Then I use Raiden's ultimate, and then I just start beating down on these wolves. And I'm trying to keep them in a circle so that way I can, stay near where the people spawn, but I kind of messed up and I just ended up beating this guy very far away from where they spawn. So you got the plant guy, of course he puts up his barrier, use Rosaria's skill to catch up to him, then I use Raiden's skill, and then I go into the burst when I probably should have waited, should have went into Xingqiu and used his burst first. I kind of realized this, so I turn into Xingqiu, use the burst, knock out this guy's shield, go into Rosaria, use her skill to ultimate, beat on him a bit, go back into Raiden, and now I'm just kind of like beating on this guy. Use Ayaka, but I have to actually stop because like when these guys are frozen, they just don't transform into the other state. So I'm just kind of like going away, using Xingqiu's burst to dodge his little explosion, go into Ayaka, use her burst to Raiden's burst, so I do massive damage. Like Ayaka just does so much damage, and then I'm just kind of beating down on this guy before the time runs out. And then I was able to get it like just literally within a second, so I got 3 stars. So this was crazy. Chamber 2. Now this was also difficult. So I start out using Bennett's Elemental Skill to Kazuha's Elemental Skill to Bennett's Elemental Skill again because this guy is invulnerable, so I'm really just trying to get like energy on my characters. Then I use Zhao's Elemental Skill, and then I use Bennett's Elemental Burst. I need to do that because I need to get a Crystallize effect, and Bennett creates Pyro in your characters, and when this guy hits me, then I get a Crystallize effect. I'm trying to stay in front of him so that way he does this little Pyro on the ground and reflects at him, does a lot of damage to him. I'm also in Zhao. I got another Crystallize effect, so I'm trying to keep these up and also dodge his attack so that way if he does another one, I'm ready for it. Now I'm just trying to get Bennett back because like I need that Bennett burst so that way I can get those Crystallize effects. And now I'm just trying to stay behind him because I don't have Crystallize on me. So until I get Bennett burst, now I use Bennett burst back into Kazuha's skill. I let myself get hit so that way I got Crystallize. Now I'm just trying to run away, also get a little bit more energy on him. Now he's doing his burst again, so reflect it back at him. Use Kazuha to go ahead and just put some damage on here. Now he's so low that I don't think he's going to shoot himself in the face again. So now I'm just trying to get back into Zhao. I'm back into Zhao using his burst. And now I'm just trying to dodge and not take too much damage. I also got Staff of Homa because I'm under 50%. Trying to dodge the best I can. Got really close to getting killed. I'm trying to weave in normal attacks, also a few charge attacks, so that way I can do as much as I can. Because in this phase, the whole floor is basically lava. So I basically just used everybody's ultimate. So Bennett's ultimate, Kazuha's ultimate, Sucrose ultimate, to Xiao's skill, so that way I can go into his ultimate. And then Pogo Stick in a normal attack to kill him. Alright, second chamber, second half. So start out with Raiden's elemental skill, to Rosaria's elemental skill, to Xingqiu's elemental skill, to his burst, and then I'm just applying water. Go with Rosaria's elemental burst, to Ayaka's elemental skill, then I'm just kind of like dashing and sprinting so that way I can keep him frozen. Go into her burst, one gets away, so I go into Rosaria to chase him back. Go into Raiden's elemental burst just to beat these guys down. Now they're both changing, so I run away, go into Xingqiu's elemental burst to dodge, go back into Rosaria to use her skill to catch up to the guy, keep this one guy frozen, so that way I can use Ayaka's burst, use Xingqiu just to help keep frozen, go ahead and accidentally change into Raiden, then I get this guy kind of cornered, I'm just attacking on him, and then I go with Rosaria's skill to her burst, those guys are frozen, and then I use Ayaka's burst, destroy one guy, try to keep this guy as close as I can to it, using Xingqiu to keep him frozen, and then go into Rosaria's elemental skill, to Ayaka's elemental skill, and then I'm just beating down with Xingqiu ultimate and sprinting with Ayaka till eventually he's down. Alright, last chamber. Now this one was pretty simple. I went with Elemental Mastery card because the rest kind of sucked. Start out with Bennett's skill, to Kazuha's skill, go back to Bennett, use his skill, so that way I can use his burst, to Kazuha's skill, to his burst, to his skill again, so we got pyro everywhere, going to Xiao's skill, now I got his burst up, now I'm just pogo sticking, I got hit, but I go back to pogo sticking. I'm also weaving in some normals because they're like right next to each other, so they're both kind of getting hit, so they're taking a lot of damage. I let them both hit me, so I kind of lost some time in my ult, but before it runs out, I was able to kill the last guy. So I go to Bennett, use his burst, to Kazuha's skill, to his burst, to his skill. Then I go to Sucrose, use her burst. Then I go on Xiao, and his burst. And I also got that Dragon Tails on Xiao. And now the guys are just kind of trapped in the corner. So really, they didn't really do much to me. So I'm just kind of getting like free hits, just attacking these guys, doing massive damage. Also weaving in those normal attacks. Xiao's burst in, so I do Kazuha's burst, to his skill, to Bennett's burst, to Xiao's burst, a couple pogo sticks, and they're dead. Alright, last floor, last chamber. Now this one, I could have probably played better, but since I had so much time, I just kind of played whatever. Started out with Raiden's elemental skill, waited for this guy's invulnerability to wear off, went to Xingqiu's elemental skill, to Rosaria's elemental skill, to Ayaka's elemental skill, got back to Raiden. Now I'm just kind of attacking it. While it's doing its attack, I used my burst. So now I'm just kind of like hitting it, trying to put some damage on it while I'm inside the burst. The burst is about to run out here shortly. It's out, so I go into Xingqiu, use his burst. Then I go to Ayaka, use her skill. Then I use her burst. And now I'm just trying to like keep it in here so that way it's taking that damage. Now it's about to do a big skill. I used Rosaria's burst to try to dodge, but I was a second too early, so I died. Go back to Raiden's elemental skill, to Xingqiu's elemental skill, to Raiden's burst. And then now I'm just doing like massive damage. So he's already like halfway down. Now he's about to do something. I switch real quick to Xingqiu and use his burst. Then I use Ayaka's skill, and now I'm just kind of like using her burst, and that's just doing massive damage to him. There's not really much that he can do. I go to Raiden, use her burst to like dodge that big attack, and now I'm just kind of like beating down on him. And now he's about to do that, using Ayaka. I use Xingqiu, is trying to use his burst, but I was too slow. Then I'm just on Raiden, and then I get on Ayaka, and I just kind of hit him, and you know, took so much damage, he's dead. Here are my character's weapons, artifacts, constellations, talents, and attributes. Also, I'm just going to go ahead and give you a couple tips that I found along the way while I was trying to do this with Xiao. For 12-1 first half, you want to do as much damage as you can before the time hits 9:15. For the second half, you want to kill those wolves as fast as you can and try to aim them towards the right hand corner. So when that plant guy spawns, you can kill him because he does that burning effect and that can kill your character. 12-2 first half. Bring a shielder. If you don't have a shielder, bring someone who can apply a status effect, like Bennett's ult where he applies pyro, so that way you can get that crystallized reaction, get hit by the mob, get crystallized, and then try to stay in the front without getting hit. If you don't have the crystallized reaction, get in the back until he hits you, so that way he doesn't do his giant blast to reflect back out. 12-2 second half. Ayaka is MVP, followed by Shogun, where he can just use his ultimate to turn everyone's normal attacks into ice. Then I'd probably say Rosaria. Other than that, you know, probably have like a Zing show you so you just help keep them frozen. 12-3, pretty much any team that does a lot of area effect damage. You saw my Xiao, so anyone like that, so you can kill it really fast to go to the next floor. Last floor, Makikinki, essentially just bring a shielder. If you don't have a shielder, just bring a lot of damage dealers and dodge with ultimates. That should do it for today's videos, so talk to you guys later.